Welcome to Yelling Into the Void, a podcast discussing and exploring topics in World of Warcraft. I'm Tevin. I'm joined as always by Scott. And I have to say, guys, for once, in the 20 plus years that this game has been around, we are no longer homeless.
Yeah, I mean, my home is like a shack. There's no furniture in there. I got an outhouse set up, though, so I took care of the essentials.
I'm just saying, you save the world how many times at this point, and they still just don't care enough to give you a house?
Could they give me an interior decorator? Because I don't want to do any of that.
I guess, Scott, I've got to clarify. We had garrisons at one point. Does that count as a house?
No.
Can I say we were not homeless then?
No, that's not a house. that's a active duty
Prison.
Military base.
But, well, guys, if you don't know, you should know, but we are on patch 11.27 now. And that means there's a lot of shit that happened on Tuesday. Like, I don't know. When you look at it, it's like, it doesn't seem like much, but there's actually quite a bit of shit that went on Tuesday. So, first and foremost, obviously, we have housing early access. I think that's the thing that most people are excited about. If you have any version pre-ordered of Midnight, you can access housing now. So go out there, build your houses, do all the crazy things. Wowhead's already putting out articles on how to build like custom windows using like 15 different things. Like, it's pretty crazy. So definitely go out there, give it a try, have fun. Make sure you've got a lot of gold because some of the decorations you can buy are not cheap. So have some gold stocked up for that.
Or, just buy a WoW token. I mean, no,
True.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Wait, yes? No?
I think at this point, Scott, you and I are so far gone as far as WoW tokens are concerned. We just kind of got to accept it.
I haven't bought one in several months, but maybe because I haven't been playing the game as much. That might
I was about to say, you haven't played the game in like a month or two.
Touche.
But, all right, so housing early access, that's the big thing. Obviously, I think everyone's aware of that one. There's a lot of other stuff that came in, though. So there's a revamp to the new player experience. They pretty much just like redid Exile's Reach entirely. There's also like this returning player thing that you can do. They've had this for a while now. I haven't actually clicked it on any of my characters because I don't think it's going to be giving me better gear than my characters that I've been getting on have. But it's supposed to give you catch-up gear even if you're at level 80. And you should try it out if you haven't played the character in a while, and definitely let us know how good or bad that is. I might be trying it on one of my tunes I haven't played since like season 1 here in a day or two, but we'll see what happens. Turbulent Time Ways is here, so if you want to level, always a great time to level, which is the reoccurring week over week over week over week time walking. And you get a XP increase during that as well. So
didn't they also like massively decrease the amount of experience you need to get from 70 to 80? Like,
yeah, they decreased it by like 70% or something crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah. So that's also a good time to go and do things because you are going to fly through the levels. If you have that on top of the like XP increase that you get for having characters at level 80, you are just going to be blazing through levels.
Wow.
New Brawlers Guild or returning Brawlers Guild, however you want to look at it. That came with this patch.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Sure.
What is the Brawlers Guild?
So,
I did not play the game when that was a thing.
Yeah, so it is kind of like its own instanced boss fight. It was incredibly hard when it first came out. And so a lot of people very much so enjoyed it. But you essentially go solo against NPCs. And there's like a bunch of different tiers and you work your way up. So it gets harder and harder and harder and harder and harder as you go.
Okay.
And then you get cosmetics, mounts, pets, transmogs, titles, I think previously, but I'm sure there's going to be like housing decor now tied to it instead, or maybe in addition to. I haven't verified that yet, but I can only imagine that we should just assume housing decor is going to be a part of any reward that they give us at this point in the game, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For forever. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a solo challenge that people love those. I mean, look at the Mage Tower. People still love the Mage Tower to this day and wish that Blizzard would bring something like that back. I wish they would bring something like that back. But the last like major thing to call out is the Midnight Prologue is now in the game. So you can go through and you can play through that. There's a couple of minor things that we're just not probably going to go into detail on. Like there's Pandaren heritage armor. I think there's another lore walking chapter. Yeah, elves, I think. Mm-hmm. And I want to say there's one other. Oh, they had it on the card separated from housing for some reason, but there's like weekly housing decor quests that you can do. I don't know why that's separate from housing. I feel like that just kind of goes with housing, but they probably wanted to make the card look aesthetically better, so they separated that out, if I had to guess. But I think that's the last thing on their like little update card that they sent out.
You're forgetting the most important thing.
Oh no.
Vigor is dead. Long live Vigor.
True.
The changes to dragon riding or sky riding or whatever we're calling it now are in the game.
If you guys haven't played since those changes or haven't played on beta, it's like actually super nice.
It's like when I first read about it, I was like, oh, whatever. That's essentially the same thing. But it's not. So yeah, if you don't know, I guess I was going to say in Midnight, but in the game now, they have gotten rid of the vigor system for skywriting. So all it is now is both the flap up and the surge forward, share 6 charges. It is 6, right? I think it's 6 charges.
Yeah, it's quite a few. I think it's 6.
They share 6 charges, and your initial like jump up into the air when you're on the ground costs nothing, so that's free. And then your like big thing that used to cost 3 vigor to surge forward really fast is just a 30-second cooldown, and that's it. And that is like, again, when you read about it like on paper, you're like, oh, I mean, it's essentially the same thing. You're basically, but no, it feels so much different. It feels better. It's just easier. It's just such an easier system to manage. And I quite like it, especially the part, like how many times in the game have you just like lost all your vigor because you're like jumping around between quests and the initial jump up into the air. You can't quite ever keep up with it. So good change. Like it.
Yeah. Yeah. The other part of it too, is with it being only a 30-second cooldown for the whirling surge or whatever it's called. You don't have to play this game where you just don't press buttons for what is it, like 10 or 15 seconds just to get 3 vigor to be able to press the button once it's off cooldown now too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's great.
It is.
But I think that's most, if not all, the new stuff. I tried to get most of it in here. There might be some things that I'm not as keen on that I might have forgotten. So if there is, just let me know. And if it's worth chatting about, we'll chat about it.
I was hoping to get through the prologue before we recorded, but I just didn't quite have time to do that.
You're better than me. I haven't even started it. So
I played a fair amount of the story in beta. I'm not going to spoil anything, so don't worry about that. But I would say my overall feeling is I am whelmed. It's not great. It's not the best writing in the world. Right. It's not terrible. It's fine. It's fine. It's like par for the course. Don't go into this expansion. If you've been playing World of Warcraft for the last few years, don't go into the expansion suddenly like expecting the writing to like shoot up a notch. It hasn't. It feels like playing World of Warcraft and experiencing the story that is World of Warcraft.
Yeah, the other thing that I think is interesting with this prologue is it's going to give us some insight, obviously, on what's coming at midnight, but it's also like completely shifting the tone a little bit, because like right now we are so like focused on like Dimensius and all of the like void stuff, and this is really going to set up the whole like elf involvement in that, which is going to be really cool to see. Yeah, definitely. A lot of elf stuff in Midnight. A lot of light. I mean, we kind of thought it was going to be the Void expansion because
the name Midnight. There's a lot of light stuff going on in this expansion. A lot of light stuff. So look forward to that, I guess. I don't want to speak in any kind of specifics because there's a lot of people that haven't even touched beta and any of the story yet. But I'm sure we'll talk about that closer to actual release.
Yeah, for sure. On the beta side of things, to kind of piggyback on this, they're pushing the 4 new dungeons. So we're going to be able to test those in Mythic Plus, or 4 dungeons we have not been able to test yet. I guess. Can you call them new if people have done them just not on Mythic?
I mean, this is the first time anyone's seen any of these 4 dungeons on Mythic Plus, so I think you can call them new.
But those are coming to beta. Some class tuning just came in, I think today, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Which shows that they're still working on classes, which is awesome.
Pretty big stuff. If like the notes are big. I only read the healer stuff, but there's a lot in there.
They're like shifting talents around and everything still, like physically moving where they're at on the talent tree. So definitely, if you were looking at the talent tree before this, take a look at it again because it might be different. And then there's some minor add-on news, I guess is what I'll call it. There's one thing that I'm actually very interested in with nameplates, and then the other news we will touch on a little bit later in the episode. So, Scott, I think we should just kick it off. I think we should just rip the Band-Aid, and we definitely have to talk about housing today. So, I know you haven't done a ton with it.
I have not.
I sat down and put more than the amount of time that I thought I was putting into it yesterday into housing. So I logged on, or at least tried to, but there was a super long maintenance yesterday, and I didn't realize how long the maintenance was going to be. So I tried to get on. I could not. And then later in the day, I finally got on, and I made our guild neighborhood. This is the first thing that I think was interesting. I don't know why the charter neighborhoods aren't in, but there's currently no charter neighborhood, and we were going to do that because we have people who play together who span multiple guilds. So I thought that was a little weird, and did they say why?
They said they were worried about server load. So like charter neighborhoods, every charter neighborhood you build up is going to have to spin up a new server.
Gotcha.
And I think they were just worried in the initial rush of everyone's going to be making a house, everyone's going to be touching this system. They were worried about like everyone wanting to make their own private neighborhood at the same time and what that would do. So I think they're going to wait for that kind of initial rush to calm down a little bit and then release it. I was a little disappointed by that, but it's still technically early access, right? So the full system is not released yet. So I expect we will get that within. I don't think we're going to have to wait very long for that. I think we'll get it pretty soon.
Sure. So the other things that I did notice immediately were a lot of good things and a couple of weird things. So right off the bat, you can fly in the neighborhood, and I think that is
terrible,
phenomenal.
What?
I think it's great because the zone is massive.
No, it's huge. Yeah.
And it's interconnected. Like there's roads you can walk on if you want to, but it is huge. And if you had to walk from I only have played on the Alliance one. I haven't been into the Horde one yet. But if you had to walk from the beach side of things all the way to the Duskwood side, it'd take you a fair amount of time, even with a mount. So the fact that you can fly is nice, I think. I think the only thing that makes it a little bit sad is it's going to take away from the value of walking through the neighborhood. But at that point, if you want that experience, then do that, I guess, is my 2 cents on it. So yeah, I think the flying in neighborhoods is pretty nice.
No, absolutely mandatory. Yeah, it's way too big to not let that happen. But yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed by the thing I had in my head of people, all landing in town center and then going their separate ways, but passing other people's houses as they go. I mean, you're still technically going to do that. It's just from the air. So I think that's totally fine.
The other thing that I noticed, when you were doing the tutorial, you kind of started off with a quest, and then that quest has you do something in the editor and then you have to exit out of the editor to then complete the quest and then accept the next part and then go back into the editor again. It just felt a little disjointed. Like it felt like they should have let you do all of that while also still in edit mode. There's probably technical limitations on why they didn't do that or why they couldn't.
Sure.
But that's like, honestly, if I'm being straight up, that is like the main gripe I had with the tutorial. Like, other than that, I felt like the tutorial did a pretty good job. There's an optional objective during the tutorial quest to like fly through every distinct zone in your neighborhood. So it makes sure that you know, like, here's the Westfall part, here's the Duskwood part, here's the beach. Like, it makes sure that you know all of these things are drastically different, because just looking at the map, you can't tell that each like zone in the neighborhood has a very different feel to it. So
I think really cool. Like I really do like that we've gotten so many different biomes within the same zone and different feels. And it was fun. Like all I've done in the system is basically fly through the neighborhood, look at the different places, pick a plot. I plopped my house down, and then I went to sleep last night. I didn't even walk in my house. All I did was at 1 a.m, I walked inside your house because I thought it'd be funny to go in someone else's house in the middle of the night and just walk around. And I pooped in the corner.
I didn't find that, so you must have cleaned up after yourself.
No, certainly not.
Fucking druids. But yeah, so as far as the tutorial goes, like I said, my biggest gripe is the fact that it feels a little discontinued or disjointed, like doing things in edit mode. And then this extends past the tutorial, by the way. Like, I would like to be in my house. You can use your movement skills in your house. But if you're in edit mode, your action bar gets taken over by the edit mode action bar, which again, it makes sense, right? But like, it would be nice if I'm editing something and I want to get to the other side of my house that I can use my movement skill to get over there.
Sure. But
I have to like exit out of edit mode, then run over, and then go back into edit mode if I want to do that.
Yeah. I think this feels just like a system thing that those two things are basically replacing each other and they can't coexist at the same time. But yeah. That'd probably be nice.
Other than that, though, like I said, I think those are the main complaints I had. It's just the disjointed kind of feeling. But this is all new, right? So the fact that we even have it to begin with is really cool. And I love the editing that we have. I logged in. I had quite a bit of decor already just from achievements that I've done. And you can go and you can buy a bunch of just stock standard stuff from the people inside the neighborhood already. And then you can go chase other things down. You can have profession people make you things. So there's a ton of decor that's already in the game, and just go searching if you want something specific. I'm sure you can find it. And like I said, Wowhead's already putting out articles on how to like, they have this like cozy window, they're calling it, where they use like 7 windows and a trellis and a bunch of ivy and stuff and put it all together in a way. Well, I guess it's probably not Wowhead, but it's a video that they showcased. But yeah, there's just crazy shit you can do. If you've ever played Final Fantasy, you know the extent people are going to go to make, like, there's Final Fantasy windows people have created that have like hundreds of items just to make that one piece in their house. So it's crazy. You look at the limit of items that you can have in your house and you're like, man, I'm never going to hit that. But then you start doing crazy shit like that and you realize very quickly that you still might run out of item space to put in your house. So,
yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I really like how simple everything is, how straightforward it is, how easy it is. I like just moving your house and like all of it. All of it feels very quick and simple, and it's exactly how I would want it to be. So I have, like I said, I haven't really played with it very much. I honestly don't know how much like of the customization of that. Like, there's going to be a lot of content creators out there that are going to make so much content on how to make stuff and how to do stuff. And I fully plan on just stealing everything from them because I'm not the type that wants to like really explore the potential edges of what this thing can do. I just want someone else to do that for me, and then take advantage of it. So that's the fact that this exists for people to do, I think is awesome and exciting, and we're going to see so many cool things. But yeah, that's not my bag. So I just plan to use other people for that.
Yeah. And it makes sense that they have that. In Path of Exile, you have like your own little hideout space, and you can import people's hideouts that they've created with the items and everything. So this already exists, and I think for the people who want something that looks nice but don't have the like mental image to do it themselves, it's an amazing feature. So, things I'm going to complain about now, I'm separating from things that I actually want to complain about. That's why I said like my main gripes earlier. There are a couple of things that I do want to complain about, and it's strictly due to the fact that it's early access. So like the number one thing that I think feels lacking right now is I don't feel like there's a ton of difference in like vibe. And if there is, it's kind of hard to like find pieces that fit together super well right now. But I think all of that is going to be fixed with like profession stuff that you can get and achievement things. So like, for example, I logged in, I had this like Forsaken table, and I had some other like Horde items. And then I had a plethora of like Alliance items for just being Alliance. And I wanted to have both of them in my house. I was trying to make it work, but I didn't have like transition pieces to have something to like make it sense that it was there. So that's one thing. I think that that'll be addressed, or maybe is already addressed, and I just don't know about it, by a lot of things that are already in the game. And then the external customization, I feel like that's a little bit lacking right now, specifically for your house. So you can go in and you can like add dormers on your house. You can add a tower, but you can't like add another outside room visually yet. So again, that's going to be added because they've already displayed houses that have additional rooms.
Yeah.
But it's not in yet. Maybe that's something we get with like a house level, because I think we can only hit like housing level 2 right now. And then it's going to go to 5 by the end of early access. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, those are honestly the very few gripes that I have with the system. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, they've said like the base Alliance house is a very human centric house, right? And the base Horde house is a very orc centric house, which makes sense. But they have said that they are going to add like new exterior aesthetics and stuff. Like the elves are big in Midnight, and we're gonna get elf type stuff. I mean, as a person who primarily plays night elves, like it would be cool to have some more night elf construction in my house. And that is coming. Yeah. I mean, like the cool thing is all this stuff is coming. But I would agree with you. Like just, again, I haven't messed with the system very much, but just flying around our neighborhood, I can see kind of the limits in the exterior stuff. Some people have done towers, like you've said, but there's not too much stuff yet you could do.
Yeah, everybody's house is just a box right now with differing windows and roof options.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't have much else to say. I feel like I have a lot of positive feelings about this. I knew I was going to. I've seen people play around with it. I enjoyed my time with housing in Final Fantasy. And this is very much so like that, but honestly easier to deal with because you don't have to deal with the weird like collision issues that Final Fantasy does, because you just click a button and turn collision off and it just works. You can have something floating in the middle of your house and they just don't care. It's amazing. I love it. I don't know if there's anything else on housing that you want to cover though, Scott.
I mean, I haven't played with the system enough to really speak too intelligently about it. I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far. It is really cool. I'm very excited for the people that really love this kind of shit. I think it's going to be really great. I'm really curious what this looks like a year from now, 2 years from now, when the system has been in long enough and has aged and everyone has gotten used to it and we've seen all the customization options and like what an active private neighborhood like looks and feels like when you're in the game and playing the game regularly and like in a season. I'm really excited to see what that ends up looking like.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I am a little worried about is I don't feel like we quite have a reason to be at our houses rather than like the hub town.
Sure.
Yet. That makes sense. Because like if you're queuing up for Mythic Plus and you don't have portals yet, you likely want to be in the hub so that you can access the portal room rather than in your house.
Definitely.
So I just don't see a reason to be there outside of just wanting to be there yet. Which maybe that's enough, but I just don't know if it'll feel as populous as we want it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, there's obviously going to be like weekly quests and things and events that are going to pull you there. But yeah, it's thinking of the neighborhood as like a hangout place in between keys doesn't feel like that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, once we get portals, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's true. And definitely like before raid, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it might be up to guilds to push things like that. I mean, in Final Fantasy, it's up to the free companies and other like house party things that happen, right? Like nobody is just typically walking around the neighborhood to find some random person. They're there for a reason, at least in my experience with it. So cool. Well, housing aside, I hope you guys are enjoying it. I am loving it. Like I said, there's still a lot I need to do, but I logged in just to make the neighborhood for a couple people yesterday and ended up spending like 3 or so hours just customizing my house. So it definitely ate away some time very quickly. Beta stuff though, Scott, because I don't have like, do you have anything else retail wise 11.27 that you want to touch on? Because I literally have only done housing so far, and so that's all I have to talk about with 11.27. But all right, well then let's jump into beta. So like I said, there's a lot that happened with both the retail version of the game and beta this week. So
well, especially since we didn't record last week, and really last time we got together, we had really just started dipping our toes in the end game portion of beta, right? I think the like Mythic Plus had just come out, and I had only done like one key. I don't think you had done any at that point.
No, I had not.
So yeah, there's been a lot of movement on, at least on my side, since we last recorded.
Well, let's start off. I think the best place for us to start off is just with things we've tested here recently. So yeah. I think I've already said I tested Frost Mage, the new Demon Hunter DPS spec. There was one other spec I tried that is eluding me right now. But either way, I tested 3 DPS specs, and everything was feeling good. Obviously, it feels a lot more simplistic than it did before. But I have since tried out a few tanks. I tried Bear, which I feel like a lot of people are very happy with Bear right now. And I wonder if I just chose the wrong hero talent, because I think the majority of people are playing Druid of the Claw, and I played Elune's Chosen because that's just always been the go-to Bear hero talent for dungeons. And so I figured it still was, and I was very disappointed. Like, I could feel not only the loss of haste, which always feels bad, but the loss of rage gen just in general. Like, it was feeling hard to keep up a relatively reasonable stack of Iron Fur for me on Bear. Maybe I'm just playing it wrong. I don't know. People seem to really like Bear right now. So, like I said, it might have just been a hero talent thing. So I'll try that again. But the 2 tanks that I have been very happy with, Vengeance Demon Hunter, Annihilation specifically is what I was playing. I think it's technically a little bit weaker than Eldraki right now. But it feels amazing and visually looks cool. So I tried that out. I was having a blast with it. I played Annihilator, or Annihilation, whatever it is, with the new spec as well, with Devourer. So I had fun with that on that spec as well. And it looks visually the same, obviously, because it's the same hero talent, and it feels very good. There's a ton of meta cooldown reduction with that hero talent to where you're getting like minutes or a minute and a half metas. So it feels very nice, or minute long metas. On top of that, your Apex talent just gives you random free proxy meta, which again, just feels amazing. You just get a free use of meta that lasts for like 10 seconds. But when you press meta, you get a bunch of things that happen. And so it feels great. The other one is Blood DK. This one I haven't done dungeons with yet, like hard dungeons, but I have played around with it, and the new Blood DK rotation feels amazing. So it's simple. It's extremely simple. I don't want to like say that it's hard. You are essentially just pressing Blood Boil when you can. You're hard striking. You're leaving your Death and Decay down, and Death striking when you need to. So it's extremely easy. That being said, man, does it feel good. I thought it was going to be bad because you have no cooldown reduction for your Empower Rune weapon now. But you're getting so many free procs of it that it just doesn't matter. It just feels so good. And I think it is by far the most overtuned tank right now. It is doing crazy damage. It's doing crazy healing. I think that, Paladin, like both the protection specs are kind of in the gutter right now. And I think Brew's a little bit of a toss-up on whether people are enjoying it or not, at least from what I've seen. I watched a video from Shaw, if anybody knows who that is, going over all of the tanks. He did some tank tests where he pulled the entire first room of Algathar and was looking at the damage, how long he could survive, how many attempts it took him to do the whole pull, and everything like that. And the ones that he said were really down bad right now were Prot Warrior, Prot Pally. And the ones, like, pretty much everybody else was doing fine, could at least do the pull. But yeah, I think that Blood DK is very overtuned right now. I think Vengeance Demon Hunter is looking pretty good. People are liking Bear, and it seems like Brew is just in a weird spot. Like, they have a ton of self-healing right now. Pretty much any fire damage I think that they're doing is healing them. So anytime you proc a tornado, you get a bunch of healing and stuff like that, at least based off what he was saying. I haven't played with it yet, so if I'm wrong, sorry, but that's my understanding. But anyways, enough of the tank rant. Just wanted to give people an idea on kind of what I was seeing. I'll let you talk about healers now.
Yeah, so I've only tested two, Resto Druid and Mistweaver Monk. Two of probably the most powerful ones right now. They both feel really... I mean, Resto Druid feels like... It feels done. Now, it doesn't play that differently from the retail version of the class right now. Like, it's still... I think if you were going into Midnight listening to like their goals with healers and like expecting the hot healer to really go back to healing primarily through your hots, you're going to be mistaken. The majority of Resto Druid's healing still is coming through spamming regrowth, and hots are really just used to supercharge those regrowths through the mastery. The more hots you have, the more mastery you have, the more healing your regrowth is going to do. But it feels very good. It feels very powerful. It doesn't feel very cooldown dependent, which is very similar to how Resto Druid feels on live right now, where I technically have cooldowns. Like Tranquility is very good in dungeons. Convoke is of course always very good. But it doesn't feel like I can do no healing until I get one of those two things up, and then I can do a shit ton of healing. It's just like I just have to throw down some hots, really lay down hots, and I'm doing really good healing. I want to say the caveat to all of this is the patch that just came out today drastically nerfed every single healer. And we can talk about that in a second. But all of my talk about how the healers feel and the strength of them in the dungeons I've done is based off of the nerf to healers that came out today, the 3rd of December. So that's Resto Druid. Mistweaver took me some getting used to. It feels... It doesn't. It's not like it plays super differently. It's just like you don't have to maintain your buffs anymore, right? Like Ancient Teachings isn't a buff you have to maintain anymore. You just get it. They also put in this thing where Shaylan's Gift, which was your AoE heal that does more healing based on the number of mist clouds are around, that now replaces Vivify. So you just like lose your single target spam heal and it becomes like an AoE spam heal that's improved by the clouds. But there's also a talent. This is like when I first played Mistweaver, I wasn't liking it. And then I kind of looked at what Megaset was doing. And there's this talent you can get that like juices your Shaylan's Gift and makes it instant cast, but makes it a single target heal. And the realization came that like you also take a talent that the number of mist clouds you get is based off of like manatee. So whenever you use manatee, you're generating a bunch of mist clouds, and then you can like basically do like instacast lay on hands on people who are taking prio damage that you need to deal with. And once I figured that build out, I started like go into the rhythm of the class a little bit, and it felt very good. So yeah, I don't think like I don't know what you've done. I've timed every single dungeon at a 10. So it was really funny. We did our episode 2 weeks ago, and I said, yeah, I did like a 2 or a 3, and that's all I did. And we had a commenter that was like, come on, guys. I've done all 12s. You can do higher than 2s. And I was like, okay, fine. So I just jumped into some 10s, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, I know we have like higher gear than you would have the first time you're trying to time a 10 once the season actually comes out, but the game did not feel that bad. The dungeons did not feel that bad. Again, this is like, I know like when the dungeons first came out, like Pit of Sauron was very bad. And they kind of immediately hotfixed both Pit and Seat of the Triumvirate to like scale them down a little bit. They removed a lot of casters. They really were like really on the spot with pulling the dungeons back a little bit, and they feel okay. I mean, like, dude, people are doing like 18s on beta right now, which is crazy. So like, the only reason I say this is there's a lot of misinformation out there that like this game post add-on purge is unplayable in its current state, that the Blizzard default UI is so bad and so unusable that you just cannot play the game right now. And while we've talked about this, the UI needs work. There really haven't been that many changes from the last time we talked to some of the UI elements. There've been a little, but not that many, and they've got a lot of work to do. But for 95% of the people that play this game, it's going to be completely playable as it is right now. So, yeah, no, those two classes feel really good. I think healing feels really good, or did. There was one thing I was noticing about healing, and then they nerfed that specific thing today. So yeah, it always feels good when you notice something and you're like, oh yeah, I wasn't the only one that noticed it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful we can get a couple of people together and we can actually do some group content. See if we can actually push some higher stuff and just really limit test. I think that gear is scaled right now, right? Depending on the level of key that you're in, I think.
Yes. I think you're scaled to like 270 something.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And so that's, what is that, roughly heroic gear, I think?
Yeah, I think Myth 6 out of 6 is 289.
Okay, so yeah, roughly heroic item level gear, probably. Yeah. That's reasonable, I think, to be testing out 10s and 12s and everything on. Mm-hmm. That'll be roughly what people are very shortly into the season. So, yeah. On Mythic Plus, the new dungeons are coming. So this is the 4 dungeons we don't have, for those who don't remember. I was pulling that up earlier. It's what I was staring over here trying to find. Magister's Terrace, Missara Caverns, Nexus Point Zenus, and Windrunner Spire are the 4 that we don't currently have that are being added to beta, and we are going to be able to test. So I am probably the most interested to see what Magister's Terrace is going to end up looking like, because it's going to be an entirely new dungeon.
Yeah, because it's like a new dungeon, but like not a new dungeon, but also it's definitely like a new dungeon.
It's like what they did with Oldemon when they brought that back. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, looking forward to that. It's going to be cool to experience. Obviously, with all of this new stuff, routing and everything's going to be messed up, and finding out what mobs suck is going to be interesting. Yeah. So we will definitely try some of these out and hopefully have more to talk about on them next week.
So how do you feel about like the way damage works in keys right now? Because they have reduced the number of, I hate that this term has become a thing that everyone says. If you heard this term bolt slop, I feel like everyone's saying the term bolt slop now, which is just bolter characters. They've really reduced the number of these mobs in dungeons. They've reduced the number of cast bar casts in the dungeons. But like the thing that's happened, and I don't know if you've noticed, maybe this is just a thing healers notice, but they can't. So the designers of the game still want to limit how much you can pull, right? And so if they're taking away these casters that just pummel you with bolts, and they're taking away the number of things you have to kick and interrupt and stuff like that, they still have to keep like the damage that's being done to you overall at a similar level, because they don't want you to pull the entire zone in one pull. And so the way they're doing that is by like things that are technically spells but don't have a cast bar, or things that like they will just throw stuff on you, and it just like it feels like there's still a lot of damage going out. It's just the damage is like not, it's not like I see a caster casting and get like a weak or a notification that someone's about to target me or see who that person's targeting. It's just like damage happens. And I think I don't think that's bad. I just think it's an interesting like kind of side effect of this idea that we're going to reduce the bolt slop. We're going to reduce the requirement for you to have kick rotations, but we can't just like take out damage, because then you'll pull like half your count in one pull, and we don't want you to do that. So watching the way the damage has like settled amongst a lot, sometimes it's just a lot more tank damage and the pull size is limited by just how much the tank can deal with, and then sometimes it's just like AoE damage just popping up or bleeds just coming, and these are things that don't have cast bars. They do have indicators, but like we're not used to the indicators quite yet, and it's just different, and it's going to take some getting used to, I think.
Yeah, I haven't noticed a ton, because the only dungeons that I really did DPS-wise were Algathar, I think, was the main one I ran when I was DPSing. And then when I was tanking, I definitely felt the increase in tank damage. Like I said, we're in heroic item level gear, and I was on a bear in a 10 spires, and I felt like I was just taking so much damage. Which again could just be me playing incorrectly or the incorrect hero talent. So, if that's the case, then that's the case. But it felt like the limiting factor there was if I could survive or not. Also, there's like the knockback mobs that nobody knew about when I was first doing the dungeon. So we got knocked off the platform like 3 or 4 times.
Well,
so
we didn't kick. Those are kickable abilities. We just did not kick them.
we didn't know that they needed to be kicked at the time, though. So.
And I say we, but I don't mean me, because that's not my responsibility anymore. I don't have to do it.
I think you should play a shaman. What about that?
I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the new dungeons. Obviously, Mythic Plus is bread and butter for Scott and I in this game. So very excited to try them out. Very excited to try and see what we can do. I still don't know what I'm looking to play yet. Like, I thought our guild was going to need a tank, so I was trying out the tanks, but it sounds like we might have our tanks. So maybe I'll go back to trying some damage dealers. But then also there's like no people tanking on beta, it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to like try something out when you have to. It's the classic thing, right? Like, I'm a DPS player and I have to sit in queue for 45 minutes. But when it's beta and you're just trying, like, I just want to get into a key so I can try out this thing I've never done before. It almost feels worse that you're having to wait like 40 minutes for a tank to show up. So yeah, that's kind of the reason I jumped over to the tanks recently.
Do you remember that Skyreach we were doing where we wiped on a boss and then someone goes vote abandon? I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're testing.
No, we're not gonna time this beta key. We better vote abandon it.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I so badly just want to be like, man, just leave. Like, if you have the lever thing on you right now, I don't think people are going to be that picky.
Yeah. No, I agree. I like, what I'll say is I'm pretty excited about this dungeon pool. I mean, granted, I haven't played any of the 4 midnight dungeons yet. But I with maybe the exception of Seed of the Triumvirate, and that's the one I did the least and had the least amount of knowledge going into. So, but the other 3, like, I really like, I think Skyreach, like, threw me off at first, but I think Skyreach is really in a good position. That feels like a fun, good dungeon. I really liked the changes to Pit of Sauron. I really like, it's they kept the map the same, so it's basically just this big circle, and you get to kind of route your path there. And I thought the bosses were fun, like a fun mix of what we understood. Like if you were play during Wrath of the Lich King, you kind of sort of remember those bosses, and it's like a fun mix of what you remember, but I obviously modernized. And then of course Algathar Academy, despite my complaining about the Croth changes, I just still think that's a very fun dungeon. So like, if these midnight dungeons are like good, they don't even have to be great. If they're like good, this is gonna be a pretty cool season, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Thankfully they didn't absolutely obliterate Algathar like they did some of the other good dungeons that they brought back. So I was very worried that they were going to be like, yeah, this dungeon you guys love because you can pull like every pack in between each boss together. We're just going to make it so you can't do that. And you also have to pull random trash that's nowhere near where you need to go now because fuck you. Yeah, like I was hopeful they weren't going to do that. I'm glad they did not do that. So yeah, Algathar, even with the boss changes, obviously the Vexmus change is great. So the changes that they did to the bosses, Croth being weird, Vexmus being great, didn't really impact the dungeon at all for me either. It's still a great dungeon. It will continue to be a great dungeon until they decide to do one of the things that I just said, I think. So,
Can I just say one last thing? Sure. They said that they were killing cat form and cat weaving on Resto Druid. And by they, I mean like random people on Reddit. I kept seeing people post this and I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, I was like pouring through the patch notes for things on Resto that like made people think that cat weaving would be dead. And I just couldn't find anything. So I was like, I'm not going to call people liars, but like, I just don't understand where this information is coming from. Cat weaving is in a great place. You do like, I think all healer damage is a little low right now, and I don't know if that's like a design choice or just they need to buff like I don't know what it is, but like I wish healer damage was just a little bit higher. But like cat weaving is just as good as it is on live. Like it's very, when you're able to stay in cat form, you do kind of sick damage, especially with the redesigned Heart of the Wild. Like I just have on a 2-minute cooldown in cat form, just like
you blast at the beginning of pulls.
Yeah. Like it's really fun on some of the keys we were doing where I would rip Heart of the Wild in cat form, then I'd follow that up with the cat form Convoke, and yeah, I would be like at the top of the DPS meter. It was insane. It was really cool. So like, yeah, what if you've also heard that cat weaving is dead in Midnight? No, it's not. It's not.
I wish, or I bet some people wish that it was though. Some people really like their caster healer druids.
I think the positive here is that it feels like they made the caster version stronger. So maybe like for forever there's just been such a gulf between cat weaving and caster that like you'd be stupid to not be cat weaving. It seems like, and I haven't crunched the numbers, but it seems like from just from like an anecdotal feeling perspective, when I tested the difference, that it's closer than it was. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. So we've got to talk about it. I don't know a ton because I haven't read through all of these. It's pretty much the same with the last class tuning patch notes they put out, but class tuning did happen. Fairly significant things. Like I said, talents are moving around. They're changing a lot still. I feel like we're not in the level of like balancing yet. Like this is still like fundamental changes that they're making. So I would still err on the side of caution when we talk about balance.
Sure.
Because I don't think that that's their intention right now. I think that their intention is, are we making meaningful choices in the talent tree, or are people just getting everything they want? Are we making sure that this is fun to play? Are we making sure that this talent feels drastically different from this talent? Like, those are the goals right now. I don't think balance is necessarily the goal right now. So keep that in mind. If your class is not doing well, it might stay bad. I'm not going to say they're going to fix it, but I would say that their balancing pass is not happening yet.
Sure.
Outside of that, anything major with healers that you want to call out? Because like I said, I think the only thing I've read so far was Blood Death Knight talents. And again, really the main thing that moved or was the thing there, was they were just moving talents around and changing wording. Not changing how the talents function, but like instead of saying this will be free, it now says this will not cost runes. So like making it just clearer on what they mean.
Yeah. So healers got nerfed. So basically, you know, we talked about when they wrote that big long post about what they want healing to be in Midnight and the problems they've seen in healing that echo a post that they've made every expansion for the since I've been playing the game again. And we kind of laughed at that and said, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Like you said this before. Well, it had become very apparent to me in beta that like healers are still very powerful and their ability to push up bars very quickly was still there. Like they were very bursty. The big thing that I noticed is with a lot of the class design changes, there's been a push to like incidental healing. And what I mean by that is just like you do things and like heals just happen in the background. Like a good example of that, I think, is the Mistweaver Ancient Teachings thing, right? That you're just doing your rotation and you're healing. With Resto Druid, your Apex talent like splashes Life Bloom healing on allies, and there was a lot of this kind of healing that is just like splash and or like Grove Guardians used to be a button you press, but now it's just whenever you Swift Mend or Wild Growth, you get a Grove Guardian and it does healing. So this is like incidental, not healing you're actively doing yourself, but just stuff that happens. And basically that felt very strong. Like part of the reason why that Mistweaver build I was talking about was so effective is because my Ancient Teachings basically took care of all like rot damage. And then when I needed to really dive and bomb healing on people, I had the tools for that, but I didn't have to worry about the rot damage part of it. So what they did kind of across the board was just reduce all of that kind of splash healing, that incidental healing, that stuff that is not anything that you're actively pressing, but is just kind of healing that's going out by you existing. And in return, they kind of buffed some of the active, like you press this button, it will do more healing now buttons. Like I think a good example for Shaman is like they just made Chain Heal stronger. Like they and like so. It's encouraging in that like they saw this problem and again like it was neat for me. It's like, oh yeah, I noticed this, and then they very quickly after I noticed it, they released this message about it. But so like you look at the patch notes, you'd be like, oh my god, all the healers are nerfed, and no, what they're really trying to do is just get all of the splash healing that the classes are doing in line. And I mean, I haven't played the game since they've done this, so I haven't actually felt what it looks like. But like, for example, Resto Druid, my splash from Life Bloom is done. There was an ability called Life Treading. It's the one that just makes it so you don't actually have to cast Efflow. It just goes on whoever you have Life Bloom on. And that also buffed Efflow by like 30%. They reduced how much that buffed Efflow by. It's just stuff like that. And so I think it's encouraging that they're like trying to stick with this thing that they said for once, that they're like, we don't want healing to be too bursty. We want to control this and we want to find a way to do this. And so I think it's encouraging. I'll have to actually get in and see what it feels like to actually play with. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess from a philosophy standpoint, how do you feel about this? Because for me, as somebody who doesn't heal, I feel like the enjoyment from healing is feeling like you're executing on it correctly. And so if everything's just passively getting healed for you and you don't necessarily have to think about it too much, I feel like that's worse gameplay.
Yeah.
So I feel like this should be a good change, right?
I think so. I do. I mean, I think what I want is when I press the button, it to feel powerful. And the problem we were having is like those buttons were feeling so powerful that they wanted to reduce the power of those buttons, but then they shifted some of the healing off to this other stuff that just kind of happens, and they maybe went too far that direction, and they're trying to find a middle ground. Because yeah, I mean, like that was always like they brought the Grove Guardians talent for Druid back in Dragonflight, and I always felt weird. I mean, at least it was an active button, but it was essentially just like a hot that had a visual indicator on in the game world, and I never felt like that was good design. It always felt weird to me, and now in Midnight they made it just literally a passive that you just get this tree every time you press something, and it just like if those ended up being really really powerful, I think that would have felt weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, what I am very happy, and again I've only tested 2 of the healers. I've got a lot more work to do before the game comes out, but one of the things that really bothered me in general about the state of healing in the game in The War Within was how much there was like modifier healing going on, and Mistweaver was the biggest problem with this, is that every ability you had a modifier to increase healing. So you would push Renewing Mist on someone, it would increase all healing they take by 20% for 15 seconds. You would push Enveloping Mist on them, it would do something similar. You had your hero talent that would do something similar. And so basically your heals hit for shit, but if you played this complicated game of putting healing buffs on everyone right before damage, then everyone's taking an additional 90% healing from all your spells, and then suddenly your spells are effective. And I did not find that fun. That is not the type of thing that was fun. And that's gone, essentially. That's completely removed. So I feel like I enjoy healing right now. It's challenging. One of the symptoms of removing kicks and stops from being as necessary as they are is that puts more onus on the healer and tank, and it takes responsibility away from the DPS, right? Because like you don't have to kick and stop as much stuff, but we still need a lot of damage output coming out. So whose responsibility is it to deal with that damage now? Well, it's the person mitigating it, and it's the person healing it. So I still feel like I have quite a bit to do. There's a lot of healing, but it feels better for me. It is still very bursty, so we'll see with this change, like how hard is it to push up bars and what that feels like. But I am excited about healing in Midnight right now. After doing a handful of 10s on 2 classes, I think it's in a good place.
Yeah, you know, something we haven't talked about in a while that was like a huge deal was the defensive purge that they did for classes.
Yeah.
I felt like that was going to be more significant than it feels like it's been.
It's not.
Because people are, like I said earlier, in heroic gear, maybe even a little bit higher. I don't know if it scales higher if you do like higher keys. But we're still seeing people time like 16s, 17s, 18s. Like, it doesn't feel like it's so significant that people are just dying and falling over. So I kind of just wanted to, like, this isn't on our script, but it got me thinking about it. Like, did we overreact a little bit? Yes. That's normally what the community does. But it's also like, we asked for defensives to be removed. I think that people were just upset that they were also getting removed while they were doing kind of these like simplification of classes.
Sure.
And so like, it felt like you were losing double the amount of buttons that people were intending or thinking that they were going to lose when they lost their defenses as well. So I guess in hindsight, I feel like that hasn't been terrible. Now, again, I haven't played every class. I haven't played with every class. There might be some classes where it's rough, but it just doesn't feel like it's been that bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was my experience as well. And listening to kind of people that are doing the really high end keys, like they're feeling like it's not like people are getting one shot, and that's what the game is right now, is managing one shots. It seems better. So I hope that it remains that way. I just want to say, I think the UI is in a pretty good place right now, too. Like,
I like a lot of the things that they've done. I like that I can go in and I can get on any of my characters. I can load my preload, put my action bars on my screen, and just go. Mm-hmm. I have been playing around with a couple of the add-ons that have been there. Some of the UI reskinning stuff, they're still throwing some Lua errors, so I don't know that I'm going to be keeping them around. But things like Nef UI is still pretty good. They're making a ton of changes to that still, which is more or less going to be, I think, the LVUI competitor now, since LVUI said that they weren't going to be continuing. And then I guess we'll just jump into this. New news as of, I don't remember if it was today or yesterday, but Lucky One said that he is going to continue LVUI support into midnight. And so that's going to be there. I do think that he did lose a few people. They jumped ship already because he said he wasn't going to be continuing. And so people are a little concerned that, something could happen and then he just drops the add-on. And so they're moving on. But that being said, like this, I think it's going to continue to happen. And we'll see where people end up. I definitely think LVUI is still going to be a massive add-on. A lot of people are still going to use it.
100%.
I think a lot of people are moving over to Nef UI as well. And a lot of changes are happening to that. I think things like Plater and Platinator are going to be competing with each other. Like, there's a lot of new add-ons coming into the scene. So I would say keep your eyes open. There's a lot of new add-ons, a lot of new add-on devs. And so there might be something that fits the bill that you want that wasn't there before. So you might be able to get something that you couldn't before.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the Wild West of add-ons right now, because not only are they making changes to like which secret values are passable and what you can do with them via the APIs, and like even the patch that just came out today made a lot of changes to which APIs you can actually access and which you can't, and that is constantly changing. And so add-on developers are kind of constantly having to kind of re-understand what they can do and what they can't do. But the other side of this is just that we are still like discovering what is capable with the system as it currently is. And like one of the things I was listening to an add-on developer talk about this, and it's basically like in the olden days of add-on development, essentially what you did is you got in there, you hid Blizzard stuff, and then you rebuilt your version of it from scratch essentially. And because the game would let you do that, like frames, for instance, you would just hide Blizzard's raid frames and then you would rebuild your raid frames from scratch. And that's what the add-on would do. You can't do that anymore. Frames is a bad example because I don't think you can even do much of that right now. But now you have to kind of work within the build of the add-on itself and like figure out what you can do and what you can't do. And people are discovering different things they can do every single day. I mean, just like the idea of like, can you have a weak aura that is actively tracking the time of your potion? No, you cannot. But you can make an add-on that when you hit potion, it will flash a potion on the screen, and the add-on will know how long a potion cooldown lasts, and it will be able to just display to you a countdown that how long until your potion has. And this is something we didn't know we could do at first, and now we can do it. And like we're learning new, I'm saying we as if I'm developing it. No, not me. The people developing add-ons are trying stuff out and learning new things every single time. And as we're seeing more and more add-ons come out that make the game look essentially like what it looks like on live right now. Now, you're never going to have the fully customizable weak aura stuff that you have, right? Like you said, LVUI has announced that they are going to release a version for Midnight. Weak auras also announced that they are not. And that makes sense to me because weak auras, as the core functionality of what weak auras is just not going to be in the game anymore. Like that is a stated goal of Blizzard. So that makes sense. But like it's how people construct add-ons, how they build things, all this stuff is brand new and people don't know the full scope of what's capable right now. And so we'll see. I mean, we're going to see what all this looks like in the end. Yeah. But I think we just have to give it time. And I mean, the big question is, will the base UI be ready in time for Midnight? I'm not confident enough to give a definitive answer on that, right? Like we have a release date now. That's one thing we didn't say on the episode, by the way, is that in between our two podcasts, they gave an official release date for Midnight. Oops, we buried the lead on that one a little bit. So yeah,
they gave more than that. I guess if we're talking dates, we need to talk all dates. So the release date is in February, early February.
Well, the game comes out Monday.
Or March.
Monday, sorry. March 2nd. But if you have the early access weekend, you will get the game on the 27th of February.
Yeah. That's what I was meaning to say. It's coming out early March, so early access, we'll get that in end of February.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then they also released their like raid schedule too, and season schedule. So that was released today, which is the 3rd of December.
Which is good because I heard Max complaining about this on stream the other day.
It's still weird to me because we're getting the expansion, and then obviously we normally have a dead week or two in the case of a first season, and so we have that, right? So March 17th is when the first raids are going to open, and this is going to be normal and heroic and LFR. And so we're getting Voidspire and Dream Rift. Those will be LFR, normal, heroic. And then the week after that, you will get those 2 raids on Mythic. And then that's it. Like the 3rd raid isn't opening yet.
Yep.
The week after that, the 3rd raid opens. So now we're talking the end of March 31st. The 3rd raid opens to every difficulty. Normal, heroic, and mythic. So that is, I'm assuming, what's going to be the target for the race. If I had to guess, because it's like there's no way they're going to go from March 24th into March 31st and try to have like, I don't know. It just feels weird. I'm assuming they want to do all the raids, but...
Yeah, can you just imagine them getting everyone together at the event place on the 17th and saying, okay, you're going to be here till April.
Yeah, you're going to be here till April just because we're staggering the releases of the raids. Like, it's not even because the race is taking particularly a long time. Yeah. Like, they could finish the Dreamrift Mythic raid very quickly. In fact, they probably will. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm glad that this schedule isn't being made around the Race to World First. I'm glad that they're kind of just sticking to their guns and doing what they will and having the people who do the race figure it out. Because ultimately that's a very small group of people. We've talked about this before. You and I love the race. We watch it. But that should not be the end all be all when it comes to raid in this game. So
yeah,
I'm happy to see. It does feel very strung out. This feels very much akin to current Blizzard design where they release things piecemeal slowly over time. I don't know. I'll see how I like it going into this, but I'm going to be just completely frank and say, I don't know that I love not everything coming out at the same time. Because it feels weird that we normally get like, here's your raid, here's all your bosses, go do it. And now it's staggered a little bit and it just feels weird, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the reason they want to do this is for like story and drama reasons, right? Like that. I mean, that is why you have a separate raid. Like basically we're going to march into the Void Spire. We're going to defeat the forces of Xalatath. And then like, after we do that, it's going to be like, ha ha ha. While you've been doing this, we've been marching on the Sunwell, and we're going to sprint over to the Sunwell, and it's a separate raid, and it's like maybe even it'll be like, I don't know, some lore reason why it'll take a week to actually get in there. So that has to be it. So I don't think we'll be able to definitively conclude on if it made sense until we've actually got into it and seen what it feels like. But I mean, ultimately, like it's not going to affect me very much. Like, you and I think probably will still be progging in the Voidspire raid when the March of Quel'Danas comes out. So like, it's not like this is going to screw up our rating. We're going to like complete raid and be like, what do we do now? I don't have anything to do. But it does make a weird thing for like how all this is going to be structured. Like I think for the race, there's no way they don't just consider the final boss of the March on Quel Danas like you kill that boss first, you win the race, right? Like no one's gonna care. Like technically, I forget what the name of the boss of Voidspire is. Crown of the Cosmos is what it's labeled as. I don't think that's the actual name. I just think it's trying to avoid spoilers. But I don't think you're gonna beat that boss, and you beat that boss first and be like, oh, we won race 1.0 for Midnight, and then you guys won 2.0, but we're still both world first. Like, I don't think anyone's going to care about that. I think it's
like, what happens if we get into a world where it's season 1 of the War Within versus season 2 of the War Within final bosses? Like, what happens when March on Quel Danas has a Gallywix as an end boss for Mythic, and Voidspire or Dreamrift has a Anseret? Like, if that's the case, there's a very good chance they finish the other boss first. And so, like, I don't know what they're going to do there.
Yeah, I mean, I think their design goal is that the Voidspire final boss feels like a penultimate boss, is what I believe what they said in difficulty level. So, like, in theory, you would... A Race to World First team would clear Voidspire on Mythic before the March comes out. The third raid comes out. So I think that's probably what they're shooting for. But I mean, they've missed the mark before, right? So they missed not even with the final bosses, but with like the mid-tier bosses. So yeah, I mean, that's going to be really interesting. And like what the decision process of like, once the third raid is out, if we're not done with Voidspire yet, what do we do? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Again, none of this matters. It really just doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So don't get hung up on it too much. There's a lot of people who stream who are Race to World First people who are probably mad about this. I would say don't piggyback too much off of how they feel. Experience it yourself and see how you feel with it, because it probably doesn't impact you.
I like the fact that we have different raids in different places. Like, I don't know. I've just like we did Cataclysm Classic a couple of years ago, and I actually really liked it in the first tier, that like there's multiple raids and multiple things you're up against, and I just think that's fun. Like if you're talking the season 1 of an expansion where things have not like fully coalesced into what like the final story has been yet, like it feels like your threats at early in expansion should be vast, and then it should kind of tighten up and focus in as you go through the expansion until you're the final boss of the expansion. So I think like the first tier of an expansion is a really fun time to do this kind of experimentation. So I like it, like from a lore and aesthetics and RPG element. Yeah, we'll see how it actually plays out in the end.
Yeah, my worry is just going to be the time gating. Like, just depending, like, if they nail the difficulty and people are still progging these when the new one comes out, that'll be fine. Like, I don't think anybody's even going to think about it. But if it feels like you're just gated because you finish something and then you can't do the next thing, that's when it's going to be an issue, I think.
Sure.
So, all right. There's one add-on thing we didn't talk about, which I was going to bring up and just completely forgot. But for anybody who cares, because this is something that was major to me and why I loved Plater so much, Platinator looks like they're starting to figure out how you can color code NPC names, which was one of my favorite features in Plater, and I used that extensively. I don't know if this is going to stick around. It provides a advantage. Now, I think some people are playing up how much of an advantage this gives people, and also are forgetting add-ons are free. And if you're that upset about it, you can just get the add-on and do it yourself. But I think Blizzard has a stated goal that they don't want to have an advantage for having an add-on base or over the base UI, which this does. So they either need to add the functionality to the base UI, or unfortunately, maybe remove it from being able to be done from other UI or other add-ons, which is not my desired outcome.
Yeah. So I think the important thing to note here is that this is not like the level of customization that's like currently available in Plater, right?
Correct.
Like, in Plater, you can change any mob to any color, and you have complete control over that. This is literally just like bosses are red. Like lieutenant mobs are this color, casters are this color, and everything else is that's it. So like useful, certainly, absolutely. Game breaking, I don't think so. But yeah, I think to your point, like the ability to parse that information via color and just to be able to know by the color of the nameplate if this is a caster mob we're gonna have to kick. If that's not in the base UI, that seems like it does. The stated goal is add-on should not provide a competitive advantage, like you said. So that seems like something. But I just think they should put this in the game. Like I just don't like. It's not that like it doesn't change that much. So like technically right now you could look at a mob and say that mob has a mana bar. So I know that's a caster, and they're going to cast at me. So this is just simplifying that slightly. I don't think it's too much to the point where it like one of their stated goals is they don't want they want to put the processing power and the thinking back into the brain of the person and not into the machine. And so they want you to have to like look at the mobs and learn and understand what they're doing and how to deal with it. And they want that to have to be something you think about. So the argument here, if you're going to take the side of we shouldn't allow this color cast, is like, I want you, the player, to have to decide that this mob is X, Y, or Z. This is, by the way, the same reason they don't want to allow nameplates the ability to rename mobs and just name this like, this is caster, this is whatever. I don't know if I agree with that, though. I don't know.
I think my biggest hangup is this like functionality is an advantage. I'll say that, like, flat out it is. Like, to be able to just walk in, visually see something, say, okay, got it, and move on is easier than going in, looking at all the nameplates that look the same, reading the names on them, and then saying, okay, I got it. But I don't think that is necessarily something that takes away from the feeling of the gameplay. Like, I don't think that this provides so much of an advantage that it feels significantly easier because of it. Mm-hmm. So I would be a little annoyed if we lost the ability to color code things, because going into a poll and like being able to easily see what the caster nameplates are, because like, here's the other thing you got to remember. Nameplates are relative to where the mob is, sure. But if they're all on top of each other, all the nameplates are on top of each other. Blizzard's nameplate stacking isn't very good. So, like, we still have to think about these things. So, I think that the color coding thing isn't as atrocious as, like, some of the other things that they were removed that were advantages that just, like Weakor is yelling at you whenever you got targeted by a spell. I can 100% understand why they wouldn't want that, because now you don't even have to look at the cast bars that are popping up to see if you're getting targeted. Mm-hmm. Now you just, I'm getting targeted, defensive. Like, I understand that one a lot more than I understand the color coding on nameplates.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is on the lower end of this. So I hope that they just say, no, this is something we need. Because there's a lot of different mobs out there. And also, like, to their whole thing of, like, we don't want to let you rename them because we want you to, like, the problem is so many of the mobs in this game are, like, a blah, blah, blah spell slinger, right? Where like, the nameplate is, like, a like, flavor text of whatever the location it is, and then there's like the type of that flavor text at the end. And like a lot of like Plater doesn't necessarily change the name of the mob, but like I mean my Plater just like picks the last name, right? Because that's the important part. That's the different part. So it just filters out the stuff in the beginning and it allows you to focus on that. And that is not in the game right now. You cannot do that. And so it's like, and I'm not saying I want them to take away the flavor text, because that again is part of an RPG. Is like these mobs are unique. Like, I don't want every single caster mob to be named Caster. I don't want every single like archer mob to be named Bolter, like a crossbow guy, right? Like, I don't want that. It takes away from some of the feeling of the world, and I don't think Blizzard wants that either. But there's got to be a better way of allowing you to still have to actively think about the stuff, but allowing you to parse the information a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens. I wanted to call it out specifically, though, because I think that's something Scott and I use pretty heavily, and enjoy a lot with Plater as it currently is. So when I saw this, that was pretty big news for me, and I was actually very happy that people were figuring out how to do this. Mm-hmm. But like I said, we'll see if it sticks around. Wouldn't be surprised to see it go. But also, if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see Blizzard try to implement something like this too if they want it to stick around. I think those are the two roads we're going down. I don't think we're ever going to be in a situation where the base UI doesn't have the ability to color things, but an add-on does, because I think that's the antithesis of what they want.
Yeah, I mean, in the base UI, the nameplates, or at least the target plate for an elite mob, already has a different thing on it, right? It's already telling you just by looking at the target, this is an elite mob. So like, why can't we have a color that says this is a mob that if you try to stun them, they're stun immune?
Yeah.
If it's a blue bar, it's stun immune. Like, why can't we just have that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. But we'll just have to see. We'll see what happens as we go in deeper into beta, I think, because I think this decision will get made before release. I can't imagine this is one that hangs over until release or until after release. So.
I think you are absolutely correct about that.
But I don't have much else for today, Scott. I think we touched on a lot of the majority of what I wanted to hit on. And next week, hopefully, we'll have some new dungeon talk to go over. Yeah,
I'm definitely looking forward to getting into those. I did Windwinter Spire in like a leveling dungeon, so I've experienced that one, and then one other one, but I don't think the other one I did is on this rotation. But It was fun. But yeah, of course, it's a whole different animal when you're in Mythic Plus. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm having fun in beta. I know it seems like there's so much negativity about this game right now. It seems like if you come out and say beta's fun, people get mad at you. So hopefully we won't see too much of that this week. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying my time with the game so far.
I am as well. I'm hopeful that I will get to play it a little bit more. I've been on a bit of a hiatus. I got sick, and then I just wasn't playing. I was playing some other games, so
dude, life
trying to
is
get back into it
insane right now.
But, yeah,
I'm glad the expansion's not actually coming out right now, because I would not have time for it.
Yeah, we with the holidays and everything else. Yeah, there's no way, absolutely no way. So, yeah. Well, I guess let's just move on then. So, question I have for you guys this week, very simple one, kind of like last week's. I just want to know how into housing everybody who has access to it is. Like I said, I went on a pretty long discussion about housing at the beginning of the episode. So I'm loving it. It's having a great time with it. I just want to know how everybody else is feeling. I want to know if you guys have created anything crazy, and just kind of get a feel of the land. So let us know. As always, you can contact us over at yellingintothevoidwow@gmail.com. YouTube is at Yelling Into the Void Wow, and then Twitter and Blue Sky, which, apologies, I haven't been posting on those. I've been, again, just completely forgetting to do that. So I will do my best to get back to posting on those, but those are both at Into the Void Wow.
And if you're not already subscribed to this podcast, we encourage you to do so just to make sure you never miss a single solitary episode as we continue our time with the beta. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else in the world podcasts exist.
Everywhere they exist.
Just it's taken over.
And then lastly, guys, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting on YouTube, Spotify, again, anywhere else you can leave comments, because I'm finding new places daily that I feel like you can leave comments and like and rate things now. So if there's ever anything that I miss, help us out there as well. So all of that helps us get more exposure, lets us continue doing what we're doing here, and having a great time with it. So I appreciate everybody, but until next week, we'll just be over here yelling into the wood.